Our next speaker is Ann Holley, and the title of her presentation is Day of the Dead at the Longmont Museum. If you've not been to the Longmont Museum to see this, you have really missed out. Longmont has now become the leading city in the state of Colorado that has the Day or Dia de los Muertos celebration. So it really is something you need to go to the museum, take advantage of it, and it's a really it's inspirational, yet it sort of gives the fact that even though we have lost some relatives, we really didn't lose them, they just moved on. And it is really a festival in Mexico that we hold very dear and we celebrate annually. But she has been the curator of education and Day of the Dead project manager at the Longmont Museum for 2 years. She's been working in the arts and education for the past 10 years. She lives in Longmont and is proud to contribute to Longmont's cultural community. And with that, let's give Ann Holley a very warm welcome.
Okay, I actually have to look at the screen so I know what to talk about. So Day of the Dead, like Greg said, is a Mexican and Central American holiday. It's celebrated every year on November, well, technically it starts October 31st at midnight and then is November 1st and 2nd. It aligns with All Saints and Souls Days. And this slide here shows artwork by a Denver artist named Robert Yancey that's at the museum right now. And it's intended to show kind of the lineage and heritage of Day of the Dead and how it got to the United States. So you can see the Aztec dancer on the far right. It was originally a holiday celebrated for a whole month in the summer by the Aztecs. And then the Catholic Church came along and some things changed in Mexico and they transformed it into a holiday that aligned with All Saints and All Souls Day. At the Longmont Museum, we've been celebrating Day of the Dead for about 14 years. Which pales in comparison to the great, tremendous history it actually has in the real world. But in Longmont, we're really excited and proud to do this, particularly at the museum. It has now spread downtown, and you can see the Katrinas all around here at the firehouse. The Muse Gallery has an exhibit. Many of the downtown businesses have altars. And it's something that's really fun. So one of the things that you'll see around Day of the Dead in homes is actually an altar. So these last two images have been images of altars. This is a close-up of something you would see on a traditional altar. In the front here, this is pan de muerto, which is bread of the dead. You'll see images of loved ones. You'll see usually a pitcher and soap, a towel, water, so that when the spirits come back to home, they can wash up from their long journey. They're actually said to come back after October 31st. The gates of heaven open up and they come back to visit. So you'll see a lot of skeletons around Day of the Dead, but they're not scary. They're fun, they're friendly, they're your family, so you're welcoming them back. At the museum, we have kind of an interesting mixture of very traditional altars and sort of interpretive altars. That last one was an altar to J.R.R. Tolkien that was built by a local group. So we have altars that are built by individuals, also altars that are built by groups. And I think that's kind of a unique expression of our culture in Longmont. Originally, when the celebration started at the museum, it was about teaching about Day of the Dead and sort of a multicultural experience to share history and tradition. And, oh, this one's by Stephanie, who's here. This is Stephanie's, and it's a really fun one. So we also have altars built by artists, and they kind of break that tradition of the tiers and what an altar might look like. But she still incorporates a lot of the traditional elements. You'll see the sugar skulls, the images, the marigolds. This is the rest of our exhibit. So every year we do half of our exhibit as altars. The other half shows some other part of Day of the Dead. This year we're looking at Day of the Dead as it's celebrated in Oaxaca. Throughout this exhibit there are photographs by an artist named Dennis Difaba, who is a photography professor at Rochester Institute of Technology. And so those are some of his images. He's been traveling there for probably the last 20 years and photographing the events around Day of the Dead. Also, you'll see on the floor, that was made by Stephanie as well, believe it or not. That's called an alfombra, and it's a sawdust carpet. It's a little bit similar to the sand paintings that you might see Tibetan monks make, except for it's made with sawdust. This one was made by a volunteer named Gretchen Sky Peck. She's from Boulder. Something that's really special about this exhibit and event is that it's very community-driven. We've had 167 volunteers help us put it together just this far, and that doesn't include our celebration that's coming up November 1st. This is another one of the alfombras. You'll see Alfombras during all kinds of different celebrations in Mexico. It's not just for Day of the Dead, but it's something you'll see a lot of during Day of the Dead. And you often see themes like the doves, the sugar skull, the Stephanie's, I think, was just a geometric pattern. You'll see that a lot as well. Sacred Heart, different religious symbols. But they're really beautiful and hand-dyed. So these we actually made in-house. We dyed all the sawdust ourselves and had our volunteers help us create the actual carpets. So not this Sunday, but next Sunday, we have our volunteer sugar skull making day, and I hope that everyone that is here will come to the museum that day and help us make sugar skulls. Last year, we made almost 2,000 sugar skulls for our big celebration day. So that particular day, what you would do is come in and learn how to make sugar skulls, and then we save them for the next week, which is our big celebration. We have all kinds of programs, including storytellers. Next Wednesday night, we have a free event from 7 to 8, where we'll have a storyteller there. And I invite everyone to come. It's going to be really fun. And it's free. Can I tell you that again? It's free at the museum, Wednesday night. Please come. So then we have our big celebration on the very left, to the side of her face there. That's Patty Moreno. She's a partner from the Longmont Youth Center. Another thing we're really proud of about this exhibit and event is that it's partners throughout our whole community. It's other arts organizations, it's other community service divisions, it's individuals, it's organizations. We get financial support and in-kind support. There's free face painting on the actual day of the celebration this year. It's Saturday, November 1st from 11 to 4, and I hope you all come for that too. We have dancers throughout the day. We have musicians. We have face painting. We have food. We have drinks. I think my next slide might be food. Let's see. Doesn't that look delicious? That is pan de muerto, which is that the bread that is put on altars every year. It's also kind of a treat. It's a sweet bread that has a little bit of anise in it. It's really good. So that and hot chocolate we serve during the day. Also free. And then that's a little girl painting a sugar skull with frosting. So the sugar skulls that we'll make next Sunday, we will then have available for people to decorate on the actual event day at the museum. It's really fun. I don't know, it's very colorful. All kinds of people come. It's a very multicultural event. That's me. We encourage you to come dressed as a skeleton, but not everybody does. So you don't have to, but it's a lot of fun if you do. It's just a really great day, and it's a great expression of our community. And it's a really interesting how it's become such a blend, a cultural blend, and such a really great expression of who we are. And that's all I have to say. Thank you. Please come.
And remember, the key word in that whole thing, it's free. Free, all right. Thank you. That really is a lot of fun. I mean, the food is great and everything. And like she said, this year they're doing it on Oaxaca, which I enjoy because I'm actually leaving on next Friday for Oaxaca. But one thing I did find out about Oaxaca, it is the mezcal capital. So, oh boy.